Hello, which camera am I on? I'm on that one. I should be live right now on Facebook. I'm not sure if anyone's joined us yet, but I can see now. I haven't yet. So if you're watching this video later on, I hope you find it interesting. What I'm going to be doing today is going over, as the title suggests, a minor blues, a G minor blues on the Dobro. And I'm going to be using some pentatonics on that, minor pentatonics, but also introducing the idea of some altered pentatonics. So there'll be some more work on understanding pentatonic structure. And there will also, as part of a minor blues, we're going to look at a couple of chords that are commonly misunderstood or understood or completely left out in terms of some basic blues vocabulary in a lot of environments. So we'll come on to those. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy it. If any of you are interested later on, if you're watching this in lessons or just asking a question about anything, do get in touch. You can message the Facebook page, or you can drop me a line on the email that's down below there, gtdobrolessons@gmail.com. Yeah, so without further ado, I shall introduce you to the. Sorry, I'm just moving a pedal here. Into the sound that we'll be working with today. I've got a backing track. There's a link in the description of this that has a link to a Google Drive folder with the charts that we'll be working with, and excuse me, and an MP3, a backing track to work with, and the chart. So there's some scale diagrams that are made on Guitar Scientist for the Dobro. It's working in open G, GBD, GBD. Most of my lessons will work in that until I work on to some with lap steel, where I'll probably just do C6. I'm just going to do a quick sound check here and check that it was all getting a bit of a balance between the guitar and the microphone rather than the Dobro. Okay, so I'll have a little noodle around just now. Swap to the camera so you can see the Dobro. Yeah, I'll just have a little play around. These aren't the examples that we're working through. This will just be me improvising through the G minor backing track, introducing the idea out, really. So let me just get my picture-in-picture sorted out. Where's my little thingamabob? We're wanting that one on to move to the guitar neck. Yeah, so I'll cut to that. Keep that in for just now. Yeah, and see if I can position it a bit better so that I'll come in a little bit so it's all on the screen. Okay, so here we go. Just get the balance sorted out. Okay, so just cut back to me. That's a little introduction to the sound we'll be working with. So what I'm going to do is run through some of the pentatonic charts that we've got, and some of the ideas that we're going to be working with on that. I'll just turn this microphone back up a little bit. So there's some key concepts to kind of get around with this. So well, what I'll do is I'll start with the chart and we'll just look at the chord progression and see what generates from that. And I'll try and do a sort of primer for those of you that are unfamiliar with this type of blues. So if I cut to this shot, you shall see the chart. Let me just enlarge it. And take off that. So what you can see here is there's a G minor blues, interestingly named G minor pent up, because it's all full of pentatonics. And I'm not so interested in the melody on this viewing, just the chord progression. Okay, so it's 12 bars. We've got essentially 4 bars of G minor, but the fourth bar turns dominant. This allows us to make a transition onto C minor that sounds like a resolution. If you don't know much about the sort of function of dominant chords in this context, we'll put that aside and we'll just say, okay, we've got 4 bars of G, but there's something funny that happens on the fourth bar. Then we got 2 bars of C minor. That's our chord 4. If G is 1, G, A, B, C. C is 4. So that's our C minor chord. And we go back to chord 1, G minor, in this fourth bar. Okay. Now the interesting thing is here, and this is the chord that is often overlooked in terms of basic music education, in rudimentary terms. This is a half diminished chord, or a minor 7 flat 5, and I'll just cut back to me while I'm discussing it. The idea here is that this is a chord that is neither major nor minor. In terms of the 4 basic chord groups, you might get minor, major, augmented and diminished. Okay, so this is related to diminished, but it's not fully diminished. Okay, just so we go through the ideas, we've got 7 chords in a key: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 4, and 5. This is the major key. 1, 4, and 5 would be major. 2, 3, and 6 would be minor, and then chord 7 would be diminished. That's its root thirds and fifths. When you add the sevenths on, there's a couple of them that start deviating from. They don't share any other common. There's no other chords in the system that share the same. So, for instance, chord 5 becomes what we call this dominant chord, whereas chords 1 and 4 that are major sevenths. All the minors, 2, 3, and 6, end up being minor seventh chords. They share the same type of sound, same type of structure. But chord 7 changes. Diminished is usually made up of 1.5 tones, this type of sound. It divides the scale evenly into 1.5 tones. And what you get on chord 7 is not that. You get 2 minor thirds, and then you get a major third. Sorry. That's me doing it on G. Okay. So we call that, it's either called half diminished, which doesn't really express it very well, or minor 7 flat 5. Either way, that's what we're seeing here, A minor 7 flat 5. Okay, so we're going to have to deal with that, and then it's followed up by D7. Now that's the 5 chord of G. And normally in natural minor, that would be a normal minor chord. But you can see we've got dominant here. Then at the end there, we've got what's called a 1-6-2-5, and it's in a minor key. But you can see there, it's what we've got that's slightly different from a basic major blues is it's not just 3 chords, and we've got something of an ambiguity about this minor 7 flat 5. So there's a contrast between just having basic minor chords and then having to deal with some slightly more complex things. So I shall cut to this little description here, and I'll see if I can put me in a box rather than just looking at a plain old bit of paper. So I'll look into my picture, and let's see if I can move that over here. yeah, so I shall just scale it down and move it over a little bit. So what we've got, oh, it's all shaky. I'll just keep me out of the picture just now then, because that's not particularly helpful. So I'll just read out what we've got. You know, I'll zoom it in so it's a bit clearer on the screen there. We've got this G minor blues using pentatonics on the dobro. I'll just read out the text just so it's there for posterity. Pentatonic scales have 5 notes as opposed to 7 in the normal scale. To make a minor scale, we use the root, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and flat 7th interval to make a normal minor pentatonic. This is coming from a natural minor scale. So if you don't know the difference between major and minor scales and the relative major and minor, from any major scale, the natural minor scale is based on the 6th degree of that. So for instance, in C, that would be A. In our case, G minor is the same as B flat. B flat major and G minor share the same key signature. So that's the cluster of notes. Okay, so from G minor, we would just use the root, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 7th. Okay, so there's a couple of notes that we don't use. For those of you that can see the numbers, we should be missing out, obviously, the 2nd and the 6th degree. In the key of G minor, we have 3 possible minor pentatonic scales, G, C, and D. Below we can see all 3 scales. That's actually on another chart. Sorry, I haven't neglected to remove that from it. We've got 2 of them. We've got G and C on this chart, but D is changed. The light blue notes indicate the notes that are not the pentatonic ones. They're the notes that would be in the wider scale. However, a minor blues, as we were just describing, has some additional kind of sophistication that can be used in the harmony that affects the pentatonics. It's common that a dominant chord, chord 5, in this case D7, would be used, and it's usually preceded by this wouldn't normally be in the natural minor key. The minor key chords that are in G minor would be G minor, which is 1, C minor, which is 4, and D minor, which is 5. So there's something funny that happens on the 5 to make it dominant. And so the dominant 5 chord is commonly borrowed from the harmonic minor scale. That's the scale that kind of is altered to make this happen. And it's it has a minor scale but with a raised 7th, and it changes some of the functions in the harmony. And these can be used to a lesser or greater extent. But as I've said here, it's just there to allow this tension and release to happen between chords 5 and 1, so we get this dominant chord 5. This is also usually preceded by this minor 7 or half diminished chord. This is the sort of 2 chord in a minor key. If G is 1, A is 2, and that's where we'd find this minor 7 flat 5 chord. It's in the both natural minor scale and the harmonic minor scale, it's not affected by this raised 7th that's with the alteration there. So it would be in both of those. It's chord 7 in the, if I'm in B flat, the major key, well, we'd find A is the 7th chord in that system, and it's our half diminished chord. But we're in the natural minor, so it's a 2 chord in this case. I'm going to use these 2 chords to introduce these alternative pentatonics. Okay, so I'll come back to that, and we'll just look at these first, are our basic minor chords. Okay, so on these diagrams you should be able to sort of see, I've got 1, 2, 3, I'm just doing through the open position here, 4, 5 can be played in the open string, flat 6, 7. Okay, now let's see if I can organize this into a 3-shot. Okay, so I'll go over some of these on the dobro, just the natural minor scales. So first of all, I'm going to play its relative major, because you should be able to play a major scale. Okay, and then we'll orientate it around the minor, and then we'll see how we get the pentatonic from it. It's very tempting to jump into a pentatonic scale and go, oh, I can play the pentatonic scale because it's only 5 notes and that's it. And you missed the wider context. You missed how to then comprehend other relationships that it has, because you've just learnt this simple system. It's not that they're not useful and effective. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start here. Let me move this camera so you can see where I am. And that's where it says flat 3. This camera's camera 2, and I should press button 4. Zoom that in a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to start here. Okay, just going to discuss a little bit about these terms that I've used. Natural minor and relative major, or major and relative minor. So G minor is obviously going to start from this open string. G, A, B flat. B flat is here. That's the third on the diagram that we're seeing below. And just square that up into the thing there. It won't go over anymore. Okay, so I'm going to play above the slide line above here. So follow the numbers above that white straight line. So this is where that second is the one just onto the left. So you can see if I can minimize this and get it in there a bit better. Come on, play ball. Yeah, you can see that a bit better there. So you should be able to hear a major scale there. Okay, that's the relative major. This is the sound of 1 because I'm playing a major scale, but it's the 3rd degree of our minor scale. So I'm going to start from the open string, and then play the same thing up to here. So here I'm really just working with the diagram as seen. I'll just move it across. So, sorry, this is not exactly scaling up as I'd hoped. There we go. So I can play in the open position now that you can see it. 2, 3. The B string is not playable, is it? Because that's a B natural. We need B flats. So B flat's there, C there, that's the 4th degree, the 5th degree. Now we can play the open 5th string, so we'd get only 1 note on the B string. Sorry, E flat, we've got this flat and 6th, that's the shaded out one, and a flat and 7th, and the 1. Sorry. Sorry, I keep hitting the open B string. So there's the minor scale. You can see we're missing out the 6th and the 2nd. You know, so we end up with 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1. Now I'm going to be using this position today, not the open strings, primarily because that allows us to migrate the positions around a lot. What we learn here, we can move elsewhere. So when we come onto the charts, everything will be based around this position. Kind of, the slide line is here for the 1 chord, for this minor chord. Okay, around here. So everything will be down in this area. Probably not 1 or 2 notes above, up to the 7th fret occasionally, but mostly played around in this area. So I'm going to work through the scale forms in this case. Okay, we're going to orientate from the root, which is this on the D string, the 7th fret. Okay, so we're going to get 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1. So I missed out the 4th in the middle. Okay, so there's that scale there. So these are all, embedded from the natural minor scale. There's no deviation here. Okay, so what we're looking at here is to orientate the same scale, but we're starting from C. Now it's the same number pattern. We're still getting a 1, a 3, a 4, a 5, and a flat 7. Oh, flat 3 as well. Okay, and we're missing out the relative same degrees, 2 and 6. You'll notice in this case, the grayed out 6, it doesn't say flat 6, because from this perspective, from this starting point of the scale, it's a major 6. It's the relative Dorian position, which would be the major chord 2. Anyway, we're dealing with C minor, chord 4 in our minor blues. So if I played the scale from here, that's the full scale with all the notes in it, and we're missing out the 2nd and that 6th. So we get 1, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's our position there. As we move on, here's our first of our variations. I'm going to have to zoom it in a bit to get this on the sheet. Okay, and this is our minor 7 flat 5 pentatonic. Well, it's a minor 7 flat 5 chord, and we're going to play it as a pentatonic. And really here it's just that we're using this harmonic minor scale. And I'll just play that. I'm going to play the G minor from G here, and it'll be the raised 7th from there. That's the scale. Okay, it's different. It's like the minor scale, but the 7th degree that was here at F natural in this case has become F sharp. Okay, the diagram that we're seeing, A is 1 because that's the chord center that we're actually using in the chart. Okay, so everything's orientated around there. And the pentatonic that we're going to use there is 1, 3, 4, but it's got a flattened 5th. All the other ones had a normal 5th. That's why the chord is called minor 7 flat 5. It's like a minor chord, like a minor 7th chord in fact, bar the fact that it's got a flattened 5th. Okay, and then we've got a 7th. Okay, so in the scale, we've got this major 3rd jump. Okay, between the flattened 5th and the flattened 7th. Anywhere you look on that scale diagram, if you find a flat 5, you'll notice the next red dot up on that string was 2 tones up. Is going to be a flat 7. So the scale has got this major 3rd jump into it. But you can see we've got a closer cluster of notes that are more directly taken from the scale. I've got this root, miss out the 2nd, jump to a 3rd, so there's a minor 3rd jump. Tone up to the 4th, semitone to a 5th. So there's 1, 2, 3, in terms of the note count, I've got 1 note, 2 notes, 3 notes, 4 notes, and 5 notes. So it's a 5-note system. It's a pentatonic, but it's not like our normal pentatonics. So that's the scale that we're going to use for this chord. You can see as a chord form, we haven't really got an open system to play it, but we can hear that sound. That's it, followed by the dominant. They usually follow onto one another in a minor 2-5 progression. I'm just going to jump to the normal chart. Okay, this one down the bottom here is our D7. I've named it D dominant 9th pentatonic. What you should see is it's actually going to be exactly the same note selection as the diagram above for the A minor 7 flat 5 from the G harmonic minor. The actual palette of notes is going to be exactly the same. It's just our 1, D, now has a flat 2nd to it. We'll just swap these back. The other way around. Sorry about this. There. Cut. So this D here, our usual chord form is this. 5th root 3rd, 5th root 3rd for a D chord. A, D, F sharp, A, D, F sharp. So D is here. And in this scale, we're going to have this flattened 2nd. This is the same, when I played the scale form, it's like D and E here. In our chord form, it's there. So I'm going to go root, 5th, root, flattened 2nd, okay, back to the 3rd, which is parallel, 5th, and a flattened 7th. So it's very much like a dominant 7th chord. I could go, oh, frozen up. Let me just refresh that. So I'll just take a second for that to come back online. It's just a camera freeze. Ooh. We're having a total freeze. Oh, there it is. We're back. And that seemed to be more of a computer faff. So the D7 chord. Fifth, seventh, root, third, fifth, seventh, root, third would be the chord. We're just really adding in a flattened second to it. Sorry, I added in a normal second there. That's the sound that we're getting it. In our chart, if I cut back to that, we're actually only very occasionally actually using it. Sorry, I'm trying to do multiple things at the same time. In our chart, we only really use the dominant seventh chord, I think in the first example. Well, I'll show you the chart and then talk through why. Okay, if you look at bar 9, we get this 2 chord, which is our minor 7 flat 5 that we're running. Then the next bar is where we get the D7. Okay? And then we get this 1-6-2-5, a quick 2-5 at the end. Notice where the phrasing is commonly played. It's in the bar structure, the first 4 bars. It's the first bar, the third bar, the 5th bar, and the 7th bar, every other bar. So we're actually going to be playing most of the time over this A minor 7 flat 5 chord and the G minor here. So only in the first example have I actually charted out something that's using the D7. We'll be learning the same scale form either way. So in this kind of instance, you're using the same scale position over both chords. It's this one point where you're able to jump to this commonly this perspective on the harmonic minor scale and play over that 2-5. If I just look a section of the last 4 bars, you'll hear that I can use this scale or that pentatonic throughout it. So this is just the last 4 bars you're going to hear. Okay, so we're just going to jump back to the picture. Okay, so this is the last 4 bars of the chart. Okay. Shall I put it? No, I'll just leave it as is. So that's the minor 7 flat 5, and there's the 7, and then it's G minor, E flat, that's the G minor. So I'll do that again. So I've got my A here. So that was me playing the arpeggios of A half diminished, D7, resolving into the G, and again. So you can hear how that characteristic works in. So, having covered that, we can jump to the chart and start looking at our first examples. So this first one, we've just got this rhythm first of all. We'll deal with that. It's 1 and 3 and. 1 and 3 and. All the motifs, all the themes are exactly the same in it. Okay, and we're using a very limited palette of our scale. Okay, of our pentatonic scale. We're going to start on the root, goes up to the 3rd, back down to the root, and then down to the 5th. So 1 and 3. Sorry. Okay, so that's our theme. I'll just cut back to the dobro. Whoopsie daisy, picture in picture. So it's the root here. In fact, if I get the 3-shot sorted and cue that up somewhere so you can see it nicely. 11. Okay, you should see that nicely there. So I've got this G at the beginning of my scale here. My scale goes 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay. We get 1 and 3. That's my theme. Okay. When that moves up to C, we get it here. Root, root, third, root, fifth. So we're really spelling out the triad with this riff. Just getting used to that. Then back to G. Okay. Then that half diminished. A, C, A, E flat. Then, and this is the only chart where I'm playing something directly over the D7. Up here, D. And that's my arpeggio there. Root, third, root, fifth. And back down to G. Okay. So, I'll play through that. Yeah. What should I put on the screen? I'll leave it on the opening line. Oh no, that's the easiest one. I'll leave it on the last line so that you can see the more complex part. Okay, so 1, well, it counts itself in. Oh, it's on the wrong loop. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Little variation at the end there. Same theme, just changed. It's the same notes, same order, but different rhythm. We'll see that last bar variation at times. Okay. So there's that first one. It's really just an introduction to the shapes and the forms, that first theme. It's only got really spelling out the chord shapes, or the triads really, there's no sevenths in it. Okay, so on to the next example, if I cue that up. Okay, rhythmically we're getting 1 and 2 and 3 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so we're moving down an octave here from this G up here to this G here. Okay, but we're not stepping down linear in a linear fashion. We're kind of doing this, breaking the scale up that can be quite often done in pentatonics into fourths. I am going here, there. So there's my theme. Got the root, 5th, 7th, 4th, 5th, 3rd, root. Okay. Then when it comes to C, we're doing the same thing but going down. Yeah, so we've got root, 5th, 7th, 4th, back to a 5th, 3rd, root. So at the end of it we get the triad. Okay. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Then back to G. Okay. Now here for the half diminished chord, we're going to jump up to the A above there. So this is us up at the 7th fret here. Okay. But where the rest of the chord form is going to be played down here. So we're ascending down. Now if you review back to the chord diagrams, you could play all of these riffs in multiple places. Okay, it's just to keep out all the actual playing for the examples today in a similar variety. When I chose to write it, there was none of the phrasings that felt too awkward for it. So just, yeah, it's got that challenge. Okay, so I've got the root, a flat fifth in this case, back to the seventh, there's my fourth, fifth, seventh, root. I think I left that root there. I think I meant to write that, shift that 7 to a 2 here, but you can see it's the octave from there, same note. So what I prefer is, sorry, the riff goes ba do da do da. It's missed the seventh. Sorry, the third. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then what you can see there is over the D7 bar, we're not playing, letting that ring, and then we're back to. Okay, so let's give that one a go. So you remember that when it comes around. 1, 2, 3, 4. And back to 1. And here's this chord. And a variation there. One more time. Variation again. Back to normal. C. Relax on the timing there. Now half diminished. Okay, so there's example 2, and we're on to 3. Okay, so here we're moving in between the scale. I'm not starting on the root, not starting on beat 1. Okay, so here I'm starting on beat 2. I've got 1, 2, so I'm coming in on 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So there's my theme. 2, 3, and 4, and. Okay, I'm jumping. Just zoom in a bit more, I think. I'm not moving around a great deal, should be able to give you a slightly better view on the dobro. I'm jumping from this D, this fifth, to the third, to the fourth, up to the fifth, and back down to the root. So there's no seventh in this. So I'm starting on a fifth lower than the root, but the fifth below the root, which is a perfect fourth. Okay, so interval wise, 5, 3, 4, 5, 1. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so there's that structure there. On C, we're applying the same theme, just starting from C. Well, starting in the C chord. So G is the fifth of that one, so it's below here. Here's C on the G string, and there's our G below it. But we're jumping up to the third here. Okay, fourth, fifth root. So 2, 3, 4, 1. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do it again. 2, 3, and 4, and back to G. 1. Sorry, I did 1. Okay, so my half diminished. is here. That's flat 5 we've got in that, so we don't have a perfect fifth, we've got a flattened fifth in this chord, which is that 4th fret, this E flat. And there's my riff there. 1, 3, 4, flat 5, root. Flat 5, so I think I said 1 a moment ago. Flat 5, 3, 4, flat 5, root. And then back to the beginning, and I think I actually wrote the variation at the end. Those last 2 bars, the last note of the riff that we'd usually play over the G, that, move the cursor over here, over this phrase, letting the note ring at the end sometimes just wants to resolve, so I've just done some variations occasionally, and you'll have heard me play that as well, just to resolve into something from the D chord, basically, or from that half diminished. Okay, so that's the ending that we did there. Okay, so I'll have a go through that, see if I can remember it myself. So I'm starting on fifths. Fifths. Those are all the fifths I need. Okay. 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Missed that one. A bit loud, isn't it, that dobro? Variation. Variation again. One more time. Okay, example 3 is done. So on to example 4. Here we've got a little pickup beat, i.e. this is coming in before the bar. Okay, all the other examples have come in after beat 1. So here we've got to get our timing for this rhythmic cell so that we come in before beat 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3, 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I've just noticed there's a little 0 here that I didn't delete. Okay, and the tab here, originally this 5 was an open G string. It tied on to another one there, like the notation does, and you have to diligently go through and delete these ones there so that it doesn't look like you have to play the note twice because it doesn't do a tie. Anyway, that's by the by, but just so you know, that 0 is superfluous. It's just from the way the notation should be and the way that this tab system works. Okay, so here we've got something that's moving slightly just down through the scale. We're starting at the top with this high G, flat 7, 5, missing out the 4th to the 3rd, back up through the 4th to the 5th, and then down to the root. So we get, that's without the rhythm. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3, 4. Yeah, And when we come on to C, we're going down. Now, unfortunately, that C that we need is actually at the end of the top line. Can you see the mouse? No, we can't quite see it over there. But it's towards the end of the bar. Needless to say, that C that you can see at the beginning of that bar, it comes in on beat 4 of the previous one, just like the previous examples. But you can see the note there, or rather you can. It's the 5th fret on the G string, because the tab, which you will see on the tab if you download it on the previous bar, it's this 5th fret on the G string. So that's where we're starting, and we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're going down through this. I'll just call out the intervals again. Root, 7th, 5th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, root. So we're going down kind of through a chord structure. Root, 7th, 5th, 3rd. And we're not going down to the root. We're coming back up to that 4th, up to the 5th, and the root. So 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I played the 4th there. 3, 4. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Forgetting just what I'd said. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's that one there. And then for our half diminished, starting up at the root as we had been, up at that 7th fret on the high D string. Okay, so that's coming in on the and, that's that high A that's in the previous bar. Then we're coming back down to the flat 5, 3rd here, 4th, flat 5 root, so it's played that wrong. Yeah, because it's through the 7th. 3, 4. Okay, and then back to the first one, but played with a double note at the end. That's the one at the end. Okay, so just to revise for myself, that's the first one. Then for C, I've got for A half diminished, the 2 chord, I'm getting, and then the ending. Okay, a 1, no, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Immediately played it wrong. Got that one right? I get this time. Little variation there. Big variation. Rhythmic variations there. More variation. And I'll just play it all straight again, or rather, as written. So, on to our final example. Okay, so here we're coming in on the and of 1, so we don't have that problem of typesetting on the page to be seen. Okay, so we're getting and 3 and 4 and 1. So this phrase finishes on beat 1, so it elapses into the next bar. So the last note should be on that downstroke of the next bar. We should feel that. Oops, sorry, cut the wrong shot there. On that one. Oh, 3 shots, what I want. Okay, so we're getting and 3 and 4 and 1. So other things about this, it's starting on the root, then it's going up through the 4th. It's not going up to the 3rd, it's jumping up to the 4th. So I've got my root here. Okay, then it's going to go parallel up to the 4th there. These strings are tuned in 4th on the Dobro, the D and the G string, like the guitar. Okay, then up to the 5th. Then it's coming back down this straight line, which is going down through the arpeggio, but we're missing out the root. So you get 5th, 3rd, 7th. Okay, so a bit like B flat basically. It's an extension of G minor 7. After that we come back down to the 5th. So we go 5th, 3rd, forget what chord I'm on, 7th, 5th, and then back to the root. Okay, so we're getting 1 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so quite a lot of, rather than letting things ring, individual notes with a tilt and a slant, a tilt coming back down, making sure we're not getting excess string noise. So it's a very good one for a beveled tip slider if you've got a round one. So if you've not got that, you really need to work on the technique so that you can drag across and not hear duck, 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 duck. If I do that same thing with the other slide round the other way, because I'm so used to this, but I know there's players there that are far better at that with me. They manage to keep the angle shallow. And I use like a nice steep tilt slant on it so that I'm not touching other strings. Okay, so back to the riff, rather than me rambling away. We shall move on to the same riff in C. And this has gone up the way. Is that going to get in the page? Yeah, frustrating. This is just about getting the right scale for it to sit on the page without having to... I'll just jump to the full page and zoom in there. Okay, so there's our riff. You can see that we're starting on the G string, on the root. Now the 4th is above. Let me picture. So there's the root. Okay, the 4th here I'm playing is not the 4th here. That's 1, 3, 4. I'm playing the 4th here above. Okay, that's that 6th interval in there. Then up to the 5th, 3rd, 7th, root. Sorry, 5th, root. Okay, so we get this. 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I played the root on the way down, not the 7th. 3, 4, 1. Okay, then back to our G. Then on to our A. Three, 4, 1. So again, interval wise, we've got the root, up to the fourth. In this case it's a flattened fifth, seventh, sorry, third, seventh, flat 5 below, root. So 1 and back to the 1. And did I do a variation on the end of that? Yeah. Okay, so we'll have that with the backing track. And just put the title up on it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Totally forgot what the riff was. And back to the beginning. Okie dokie. So I hope through my let's see if we can get the camera back on me. I hope you found some of that helpful and useful, going through some pentatonics. So overall, the thing to take from this is that as you're learning pentatonics, there's major and there's minor, and then there's more use to be made out of them. They're just 5-note systems that can be taken from other scales. So that's one thing broadly about pentatonics that I've found useful for once introduced to it. And then another thing that is often overlooked in many styles of music is this a half diminished chord, or chord 7 in a major key, or chord 2 in a minor key, where it's like a minor 7th chord, but it's got a flattened 5th. In this case, this is the A half diminished chord, okay? And it's got a key function in extending that dominant sound on minor turnarounds when you're using it in a minor key. So on the chart, you'll see that as the A minor 7 flat 5, and on the diagrams there, you can see it's arpeggio, or it's the pentatonic that I've laid out for it. I'll just cut back to that so that we can have a little refresher of the idea there. Bring that up on the screen. Take the title off. So this is to say that one there, that minor 7th flat 5 pentatonic. In this case, the broader scale, including the shaded dots, is the harmonic G harmonic minor. But the 1 is A, because it's the arpeggio we're looking. So the pattern that we've got is got the root, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th, the flat 5 and the 7th. The additional note beyond the chord to make it a 5-note system is the 4th. Okay? So that's quite a common alternative pentatonic. It comes by a few different names depending on how you orientate it over what scale. But in this case, just think of it as this minor 7 flat 5 chord, or an altered pentatonic. The same thing, the same pattern is played out on the bottom one over a D7 chord. You can record yourself a D7 chord and see what it's like to play this flattened second over the top of it. If I just turn, well, no, I'll leave it there for today. If you've got any questions or further interests, oops, keep bringing that in. I don't mean to. If you've got any questions about the sort of content that was going over, do drop me a line and I'll see if I can reply. And if you're interested in lessons, please do let me know. GT Dobro Lessons Online at Gmail, or you can just message me on the Facebook. Yeah, so I hope you found some of that useful and the materials there. For now, I shall leave you with my outro that I keep popping in incorrectly throughout the stream. This is from my tuition channel. Okay, so bye for now. Cheers.